Bhakta Mela of Baba and Ai's children. Part 3. There are two words in Marathi to denote a mother. One is Mai and the other Ai. First one is a general term used to address women regarding them as aunt, etc. Ai stands for one's own mother. We also use this word to denote a woman who, without giving birth to a child, is revered as the mother of the universe. Some devotees say that while Vaman and others called Radha Krishna Ai as Mai, Baba called her Ai. Holy Mother Sharada Devi belongs to the latter category of mothers. When a disciple saw his own mother's face in that of Holy Mother, he expressed his wonder. She replied, "Have no doubt, I am indeed your own mother." Avasthi has this to say about his association with Radha Krishna Ai. From the moment Baba touched my head and blessed, I knew Sai Baba to be my Sadguru. Radha Krishna Ai narrated some events of my life. Even so, I could not regard her as equal to my Guru Shanti Devi. All of a sudden, she fell down unconscious, exclaiming loudly, "I am dying." I held her before she fell down. Keeping her on my lap, I kept uttering Namah Shivaya. I was taken aback as my Guru had acted in the same way in the first meeting. When I got up, she said that it was wrong to utter the mantra loudly. He recalled the divine vision he got after his first visit. When he left after taking leave of Baba, he saw all men in Shirdi as Baba and all women as Ai. Baba was in the Brahmisthiti as described in Bhagavad Gita. It is a state of equal vision which does not distinguish between a Brahmana, a Gomata, an elephant, a dog, and a Chandala who ate dog's flesh. Baba lived this truth every minute of his life. This equal vision was also possessed by Radha Krishna Ai. The devotee who understood this truth was able to see oneself in all beings. So he had the Atma Sakshatkar, that is, the divine vision. In other words, being a devotee of high order, Avasthi could see Baba and Ai as the universal self present in all creatures. Baba too hinted to this fact when, after Ai passed away, Sathe removed valuable silver articles from her house. He severely warned Sathe, "If anyone steals my articles, he will suffer." From this, we understand the identity between Baba and Ai. Baba knew that every thought, deed, word, and breath of Ai was dedicated to him alone. No wonder, therefore, Avasthi regarded Baba as a supreme being and Ai as a universal Guru. In a further experience narrated by Avasthi, he states that it was the morning of November 1917. However, it is now established by the research done by Swami Ramanananda that Ai attained Mahasamadhi on 15/11/1916. Baba came to my house in Ujjain. I heard his voice, came out, but Baba disappeared. Then I heard Abdul's voice. My friend plucking flowers in garden, however, did not see anybody. On the third day, I got a letter from Vaman conveying the Samadhi of Ai, which took place on the same day when Baba came to my house. In May 1918, I went to Shiradi with my sister and niece. We stayed in Ai's house. The women wanted to prepare pital, a dish for Nevedya. They could not light the stove. They called out to Ai for help. Lo and behold, Ai came from the first floor and helped to light the stove. It was only later the women remembered after Ai's passing away in November 1917. Now let us turn to the Bhakta Mela of Baba, Ai and Purandare as described in the immortal book Shiradi Che Sai Baba, written by Dr. Keshav Gavankar. Raghuveer Bhaskar Purandare had surrendered to Baba in their first meeting. Whenever possible, he would go to Shiradi. For him, Baba was his mother, father, and everything. Even if Sai scolded and shouted, Purandare would say, I will take food only after completing the room to store Baba's palki. The palki, along with the silver fittings and 2 silver images of horses, were gifted to Baba by Purandare. The silver fittings were stolen a day or 2 prior to the construction of the room. So Ai and Bhav consulted each other and decided to make a room for the palki. When Baba was asked for permission, he said, they could as well have taken the palki. Finally, Baba agreed. Ai was happy but could not bear to see Purandare working in the hot sun without taking a break. Once, he experienced a severe headache when he was working in the hot sun. Ai took Buki medicinal powder and gave it with Baba's Udi to heal his headache. Ai always called Purandare as Thai, that is, elder sister. She would say, my Thai is always doing something. She comes to the mother's house for rest. That never happens. But Mother Sai looks after her very well and protects her. There is another dimension to the word Thai. Those who serve should do so with the selfless attitude of a woman giving up her ego. If the ego raises its head, the Seva Bhava disappears. Moreover, men too are indeed women. In fact, Purushottama is the only Purusha. All human beings are only women. Krishna describes how he is related to each one of us in a telling one-liner. Gathir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasaha Sharanam Suhrit in chapter 9, sloka 18 of the Bhagavad Gita. God is the goal, sustainer, refuge, witness, and a loving friend for each one of us. Thus, when He is everything to every one of us and He is with us always, there is no other alternative but to serve Him with love like a slave. This is the essence of Prema Bhakti. Sri H.S. Dikshit, being a devotee of very high order, easily recognized the greatness of Ai and affirmed that Ai was the Acharya of that kind of Prema Bhakti. Let us come back to Purandare's. Baba used to call Purandare as Bhav story. We will begin with the Mango Leela. As Purandare left for Shiradi in a hurry, he forgot to bring anything with him. Baba asked him for the mangoes he was supposed to bring. He replied, I could not get good ones. Baba said, it will reach tomorrow, we can eat that. The next day, a parcel containing mangoes in the name of Purandare really arrived. At that time, Purandare was unrolling a bundle of wire for making a fence around Lendi Bagh. Baba sent him messages 3 times. Bring rupees 100, rupees 125, rupees 150. Purandare did not like to leave the task of fencing in the middle. Finally, Sri Jog came and said, Baba does not like you to work in the midday sun. A parcel of mangoes has come in your name. Even then, Purandare finished his job and went to see Baba. Baba kept saying, Is Bhau mad? He never sleeps at night. What to say about daytime? I have to save him. He is my child. The conversation that ensued was on these lines. Baba, did you eat? Purandare, yes. Baba, sit quietly and eat these mangoes. Purandare, who will send me mangoes? They are not mine. Baba, I say these are yours. Bhau, here, take it. Purandare, I will not eat it. You can have it. Baba did not take the mango. Baba, you will have it. Purandare, why this obstinacy? Saying so, Purandare started crying. Baba comforted him and said, It is yours, have it. Then Baba gave one mango to Fakir Baba, and he ate a little of another mango and gave the rest to Purandare, who accepted it as prasadam. Baba told Bhau, Give the basket to Ramakrishna. Purandare followed what Baba said. Just as Vitala waited for Jana like a mad person, Purandare, unmindful of a severe headache, worked in the midday sun in the service of the Lord like a mad person. Baba made Purandare stay near him till 5 p.m., not letting him go in the hot sun. When he asked whether he could go to Ai, Baba said, No, bring tiffin from her. But even after eating the tiffin, Baba made Bhau stay with him. The next day, as soon as he saw Bhau, Baba started hurling abuses. I am not allowed to rest in either Dwaraka Mai or Chavadi. I will take out his eyes. So the shouting went on. Dikshit comforted Purandare. Do not take Baba's words to heart. Purandare laughed to himself. The next morning, when Baba went to the Lendi Bagh, the work on the construction of the shed began. Purandare levelled the earth, and a servant of Dikshit helped him to pave the stones. There were many scorpions in the mud, but they did not harm Purandare. The shed was adjoining Dwaraka Mai's wall. 3 holes were to be drilled in the wall and wooden sticks were to be inserted. When this work was half done, Baba took Bhau by the neck and made him get down from the ladder. His neck was in the hands of Baba, who was all the while shouting at him, You are troubling me so much. You will see I will kill you. Now go away. Purandare replied, I will not go without completing the work. I will not cause any damage to your masjid. After scolding him for a while, Baba said, Do as you please, and went off to Dwaraka Mai. Purandare did not leave his work till Baba asked him to go for lunch. Thereafter, he placed his head at the feet of Baba, who blessed him and said, Do not give up your faith in the Masjid Mai. She will listen to your prayers. On another occasion, Purandare brought some plants with fragrant flowers from Bombay to plant at Lendi Bagh. By divine will, a horse cart came to take him and his friends, who carried 4 heavy pots. All of them bathed in the river Godavari. After depositing the luggage in Ai's house, Purandare went for the Arati. On seeing him, Baba shouted angrily, Why come here? Go to your Ai. From these words, we can infer that Baba and Ai competed with each other in nourishing and cherishing close devotees who were their little children. Purandare went to Ai's house. As food was ready, he took it. Thereafter, Ai said, "Go to Baba and take his permission to plant the saplings, otherwise they will wither away." Bhau waited for 1 hour on the steps of Dwaraka Mai. Baba was silent all the while. Finally, Bhau said, "I will plant the saplings in the space between Satewada and Chavadi. The creepers will be kept around the arch at the entrance of Lendi Bagh." Baba said, "I do not want flowers or plants. You put them up in your house." Bhau was staying in Ai's house at that time. Mahatu came to call him to come to the Dwaraka Mai. Bhau said, "It is 8:30 p.m. now. No one goes there at this time. I will come in the morning." As the call was repeated, Ai uttered these memorable words, "Do not ignore his call. Realize that Baba is earning for you all the time. Baba may shout at you, but he has great love for you. Don't cry. Your Ai, Baba, will not let the plants wither away. Even if they do, they thrive and flower by his grace. All will praise your work and remember you. Go at once without saying no. If he calls you so late, it means it is a special favor for you." Bhau got up at once and went to Dwaraka Mai. As he stood near the steps, Baba called out to him, "Bhau, come up. Do not cry. Did I upset you in any way? Why do you trouble me like this? Allah will fulfill all your desires. He will give you such bliss, which is equal to all the treasures in the 7 oceans. Why fear? I have given you money and will continue to give as well." Purandare said, "Your grace alone is enough for me. I brought these plants for you. They have withered away. I do not want to live. Will these plants then decorate my lifeless body?" He started crying. Baba asked him to come near. "Bhau, do not cry. I take your name again and again every day. I always do think of you. Why cry? Go at once and plant the saplings. The soil under the banyan tree in Patil's land is very good. All the plants will live. I will protect them. Allah is there. Take Udi and plant them just now. They will not survive till the morning." Baba kept his hand on Purandare's head and applied vibhuti on his forehead once more. "I praise your firm faith. Allah will protect you." Thereafter, Baba gave him permission to go. Purandare went to see Ai very happily. She said, "What I told you has come true." Together, they brought the soil from under the banyan tree and planted the saplings. When they finished planting, it was time for the Kakad Arati. After taking bath, they went to join the Arati. Baba was very angry. He told Kundaji to uproot the plants, but nothing like that happened. The plants took root and grew up. Fragrant flowers were thereafter available for doing puja to Baba. Once, Purandare planned to visit Shiradi during the Christmas vacations along with his baby. But as the family members wanted to go to their native place, Purandare accompanied them to the railway station. All of a sudden, he said, "I have to go to Shiradi," and bought a ticket to Kopargaon, though the family members tried to protest. As he reached Kopargaon station, one of the Tongawalas there told him that Baba and Ai were unwell. Purandare went to Dwaraka Mai at once. Baba said to him, "I am very happy that you have come. Ai is also unwell. I sent Dikshit to her. You too should go there, but do not leave me." This shows that Baba and Ai were embodiments of the same Paramatma. To be with Ai was like being in Dwaraka Mai. This is what Baba meant when he said, "Do not leave me." Baba, though weak, did not give up his daily activities. Purandare told him, "I will carry you on my back." Baba replied, "Do not worry. I will recover according to the will of Allah." On the first day, when Bhav asked for medicine for Ai, Baba did not give it, but on the next day he did so. On the second day, Baba asked for a ladder. All of a sudden, he climbed on the roof of Vaman Gonkar's house and walked over the roof of Ai's house and got down on the other side. He gave ₹2 to the man who brought the ladder, saying nothing should be taken free. Some people say that Baba called Tatya for help, but he asked for ₹10. All the people were puzzled as to Baba, who was badly down with asthma and had to be supported by 2 or 3 people while walking, could climb the ladder so fast. Dr. Keshav's book gives additional information. Tatya said, "You are asking for help to come down the ladder. Why at all did you climb it in the first place?" Baba said, "Some people came near me to attack me. It was as if they came to kill me. I was scared and I climbed on to the roof." Ai recovered from malaria after this event. We can guess that Baba climbed on the roof of her house to save her from death. One translation of the Satcharita reads that Baba knocked at her door before climbing up. Baba asked, "Is Purandare mad?" The frenzy of devotion of both the Bhagwan and the Bhakta acts in a strange way. Baba's angry shouts at Purandare were indeed the expression of extreme love and concern. When trouble comes, all the people will desert you. God alone will save you. So says Baba and adds, "Can I be behind you always?" This means that we should also be careful and not get into problems. Baba, who is always under the spell of prema, is like a doll in the hands of Bhaktas. Baba asked Purandare once, "Why and how have you come running to see me?" He asked many devotees in the same way. He did not want his devotees to face any trouble or difficulty while coming to see him or take loans to pay the fare. According to the account of Sai Dasa Srinivas in his book titled Radha Krishna Mai, it was Baba who asked Nana to bring Ai to Shirdi, as she was to be given the task of teaching spiritual truths to some close devotees of Baba. Nana dispelled Ai's doubts about her expected role and persuaded her to come to Shirdi. When she reached Shirdi, she felt it was Krishna's own Vrindavan, except that Baba was in each and every house instead of Krishna. Nana saw Baba seated in Ai's shrine in the place of Krishna. At her first darshan of Baba, she sees Baba as all the gods. She falls at the feet of Baba, washing them with her tears. It was a unique Sukshma Darshana bestowed on her. She asked Baba, "Baba, why did you make me wait this long?" Baba replied, I too have been waiting for you. She was in a state of semi-consciousness till she met and talked to Nana. Baba told her to be very careful as it was Shiradi and Kali Yuga. It is a relationship of many janmas between Ai and Baba. Probably in the previous janma, she was very possessive of Baba as a devotee, so in this janma, she was advised not to come face to face with Baba. Jai Sai Ram.